Dude, do you remember your first poem?
I remember what it was.
Phil Phails for you. When you think of like watershed moments from zero to senior in high school, living in that small town, what are they? Do you have any memories that were like after this? I mean, in some ways we're changed by every moment, but there's some moments that were more impactful than others.
Well, in terms of the path that I'm on now, I started writing poetry when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah. What inspired that? Well, how did that begin?
Well, I was homeschooled for a couple of years.
Okay.
In like the middle school. So I had a lot of freedom around me, and freedom of thought, because it wasn't even we didn't have a strict curriculum. I mean, we certainly had things to do, but we had a lot of freedom, and my mom had a lot of books in the house. So I used to just kind of find some of her books and read them, and some of them were poetry. So there was like some classic poetry that I would read. My first favorite was Edgar Allan Poe, because he rhymes and it's kind of cool imagery. So I think it's an easy in. So that was my in for poetry, and I started writing poetry. Yeah, shortly after I started reading it, and and then I kind of never stopped. Like I remember having just in high school just notebooks full of poetry.
Really? So having that stay-at-home dad, it's not that at-home learning, what are they called again? Homeschooling, and having time and access to wonderful books.
Yeah.
Brought inspiration to write and to mirror what you saw Edgar Allan Poe do.
Absolutely.
Dude, do you remember your first poem?
I remember what it was. Yeah, I remember what it was. I think it was something about showing love. I wrote it for the youth group that I was part of.
Yes.
Like we did some youth group trip.
Do you have it somewhere?
No.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
Doubt it.
You wrote it for a youth group trip?
Yeah, I just wrote it for, yes. And during this youth group trip, they kept saying like, show some love, show some love. That was like a phrase that they were using. So I wrote a poem called Show Some Love.
Aww.
And you know what's funny is I remember the last two lines from that poem that I wrote. And I was like 13, 14. My poems would rhyme at the time.
Yeah.
So the last two lines of this poem, the first poem I ever wrote, go, you can have the presence of a beautiful snow white dove if all you do and nothing more is show someone some love.
Yeah. Love that.
Right? And then my second poem was about the Civil War.
What you looking for?
Because for some reason I was into the Civil War as a kid.
Yeah.
So I wrote a poem about the Civil War.
You looking for your drink?
Oh yeah. My water is right here.
Let's both drink.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So one moment was discovering your lifelong expression of poetry. Another moment was joining a gang.
Yeah.
We've already gone over that one.
Yes.
Is there a tertiary experience that you had in there that was impactful for you?
Nothing's coming up.